Welcome everybody to tutorial number 2. This is going to be actually the most important one that I will send out of all of the videos. Now if you're watching this first, make sure to go back and watch tutorial number 1 where we went over some really important things. What residual income is, what our goal is, the $1,500 a month, and how to get your mindset ready to do what we're going to do throughout this program, which is our goal of 29 prescriptions per day, and that's what gets you to that 1,500. So make sure to go watch that video if you haven't watched that yet. Today, I'm going to talk to you about exactly what I was referring to before when we talk about more strategic strategies on how to accomplish this. Now, yesterday I mentioned a different strategy that I wasn't going to focus on, and that one is basically people that are sales reps and they grab their cards and they go stick them at random doctor's offices. And not that that's a bad thing, that works, it's profitable, but that's not what I'm going to focus on. And this is the reason that I'm not going to focus on that, because the card holders, once you order your cards, 200 cards come in each one, and what happens is you go and you drop off 200 cards, those get picked up eventually, and what we found is that only 5% of those cards get used actually, and that's about 10 prescriptions, which at $1.75, that's $17.50. So obviously it's profitable. You know, I don't know why I wrote that so small. $17, just because it's such a small amount of money. $17.50 is what they make. So it's profitable. These cards, I mean, they're only 2 pennies each. I'm not saying this doesn't work. This works. But what I'm going to teach you today, I'm going to teach you how to get your cards in a situation where you're putting your cards out and actually 95% of them are going to be used. And not only that, they're going to be used very, very fast, a lot faster than the other situations. Now, that sounds kind of crazy, but I'm going to explain to you, why that is. Okay, and so here it is. So there's the most of the time, the people that are using our card the most are people that don't have insurance, or they do have insurance, but the medication's not covered. So there's medications out there that are never covered by insurance. Okay, so as soon as I say that, you probably out there already know, you can probably already name 3 or 4 medications that are not covered by insurance. And there is certain medications that become very, very profitable for us. And those are the medications that are never covered by insurance, and also where we have the best price on them. So what I'm going to teach you here today can be replicated for multiple medications, but I'm just going to use one example. One example because the example is so good, it fits all the criteria of how we can get a bunch of claims really fast. So, and that medication is Adipex. Some of you might know it as phentermine. Okay? 37.5 milligrams. It's usually taken once daily. It's supposed to be taken once daily. They get 30 at a time. And this medication right here is usually about $30-something at the major retail stores. Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, maybe like $30-something without insurance. Some discount cards out there provide them a little bit of insurance, somewhere in the 20s. But our card, we get this prescription right here for $11.75 at Walgreens. That's awesome because 1, it is never covered by insurance, and 2, we have the best price on it. So this is, an awesome opportunity for us. So how do we leverage that? How do we get people to know this and to use our card for this medication? So what we do is, I used to work in a pharmacy. I worked in tons of pharmacies for many, many years. And what I realized is that in every area, there's a doctor that is known as the doctor that writes for Adipex, phentermine, all the time. Now, what I realized, each area has 1 or 2 of these doctors. Everybody knows that's where you go if you want that medication. These doctors are super, super important. Okay, so you have to find out who these doctors are. Because once you get to these doctors, some of these doctors are watching, are seeing 10, 15, 20 patients a day. So once you find out who this doctor is, because you have to realize, I was in the pharmacy and I saw people come in every day from that same doctor's offices, but I was just in one pharmacy. That doctor was writing prescriptions for people that were going to all the other pharmacies in the area. So I realized that this doctor's office is so important because they might be seeing anywhere from they might be writing prescriptions for this medication anywhere from like 5 to like 15 of these just in one day. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to go into these doctor's offices with your cards, and this is what you say. Okay, I'm a pharmacist, so I walked in there and I get to say I'm a pharmacist. But whatever you're doing, you're probably in the healthcare field. Let them know, what you're doing, or like if you're a nurse or you work at other doctors' offices, this is a great thing to say. Um, Even if you want to use me as a reference, say, "Hi, I work for a pharmacist that has a discount card." You can use me as a reference because it works a lot better. Once I walk in there and I say, "Hi, I'm a pharmacist. I noticed that a lot of your patients are taking the medication, the weight loss medication, Adipex, phentermine. We have actually a special deal with Walgreens where they get that for $11.75. Right now, they're paying way too much for it. They're getting it for $30 different places, $20 with some discount cards. We have the best deal with Walgreens right now. I have these cards. As long as they bring it into the pharmacy, they can get that special rate." And it's going to be awesome. They're going to love that. They're going to love that for a lot of reasons. One, the doctor's office is going to love that because now they're going to have more repeat customers, because a lot of times customers see that the medication is $30 a month and they decided they don't want to take it. Now that they're getting it for $11, they're more prone to make return visits, and better for the doctor's office. Number two, that receptionist is probably so sick and tired of getting that phone call from patients or pharmacies letting them know that this medication is not covered by insurance. So they're going to be more than happy to give that card to every single one of the patients getting that prescription walking out the door. So this is very, very important. This is going to be like your bread and butter. You want to find out who that doctor is. Okay, and if you don't have access or you don't have experience in the healthcare field, you don't know who that doctor is, what I've done in the past is if I've been in a different area, I'll go up to the pharmacy, because the pharmacies, especially the busy ones, they're the ones that see these prescriptions all the time. And I would just straight up ask the person at the drop-off counter, "Hey, I was looking for a doctor in the area that writes for the weight loss medication phentermine or Adipex. Do you know which doctor I can see in this area for that?" Usually they're going to know. I know if you came up to my pharmacy, I would have known the answer to that. But use your connections. If you know nurses or pharmacy technicians, reach out to them. If they don't know, they can ask somebody else that definitely knows. Everybody knows somebody that is probably taking this weight loss medication. It's very easy to find out this information because it's very, very important. Now, the next step after you do that is there's other doctors that are writing for this medication frequently. Not maybe like that one doctor, but they're actually writing for it frequently. People see these prescriptions coming in, every once in a while. And so what you want to do is you want to find out all the other doctors that are writing for this medication frequently. Now, me, I had a good understanding in my area of who was writing it because I had seen so many prescriptions. But once I was working in the hospital and I didn't have direct access to that when I was doing this, what I would do is I would reach out to my connections. I would reach out to my friends who were pharmacists or friends who were pharmacy technicians, and I would ask them, "Hey, listen, can you please do me a favor? Every time you see a doctor writing for Adipex or phentermine, can you just write it down for me?" Okay, and then they would do it for me. Now, after a while, I ended up, kind of being a pain in the butt, and I'm sure they're busy at work and they don't want to be doing this for me. So I just offered them like $50. Every time you can get me a good list of 10 doctors that are frequently writing for it. I knew it was worth it, obviously, because I was going to make a lot more money than that on the other end. You don't have to go do that, but I'm just letting you know everything that I did to get to where I'm at. So what I did was I was getting these lists of 10 doctors that were frequently writing for it. So you look at that. I would get down a piece of paper. I would get down the list, and I would write all these doctors down. And I'd try to focus on about 10. And what I would do was I would go to these doctors' offices and I would say the same thing. "Hey, I'm a pharmacist. I noticed that a lot of your patients get the medication for weight loss. Adipex, it's been very popular lately. We have a very special deal with Walgreens where they can get it for $11.75. Okay, and you can say, "I know," like if you notice other discount cards in their office, we beat all these other discount cards on this price. So this is like the perfect situation. You can say, "I notice you have other discount cards here, but they're a lot more money. We have a very special deal where your patients can get it for $11.75. And then we get to put that card there. Not only that, but they ended up giving it to a lot of their other patients for other medications. So that is an awesome strategy. I do that with all 10 of these doctors' offices. Okay, it takes like 15. It's like a 15-second conversation that you go in there and you have with them. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. A lot of you might feel uncomfortable doing that. Trust me, I understand. I feel the same way. The first time I got all dressed up and went out to this place, I actually got back in my car and went home the first time I did that because it was awkward. I wasn't used to it. But finally, when I built up enough nerve to go do it, and then once I started getting my commission checks, it became a lot easier to go in there and have these simple conversations. What you find is that 90% of the time, they're very appreciative and they're very happy and excited that they can give their patients these discounts, especially one that's so big. You know, something from $35 to $11. That's an enormous discount. Everybody wins. Doctor's office wins. They win, and you win as well because they're using your card. So now with these, even though they're doing it frequently, obviously you're not going to see the same result that you see from that one, that one doctor that everybody goes to for this. So a lot of these you'll see, maybe they'll use it like once a day, maybe they'll use it like maybe, go 0, 0, and then 1 every few days, and you'll just see little sporadic ones here and there, right? But all those little sporadic ones are going to add up to about 5. Okay, so now you could kind of see how this number seems pretty attainable all of a sudden. Okay, because we're using such a strategic, targeted way of going about this. Now, there's another list. There's a second list that I want you guys to make when you're doing this, so you can pick up another few per day. Now, what I do is I go home and I type into Google. I put weight loss clinics. Okay, and as soon as you do that, Google is going to give you about 10 weight loss clinics that are in the area. They are they're everywhere right now. Okay, very, very popular. So they're going to give you 10 that are within like a 10-mile radius. Now these are a little bit different because what happens is these weight loss clinics, a lot of them do HCG injections and they do vitamin B12 booster injection type things. So not all of them are going to be writing for Adipex. And they won't be getting a lot of patients that are on Adipex, but some of them do, and some of them have plenty of patients that are on Adipex. So what you're gonna do is you don't want to waste your time driving to all of these, putting your cards out there if you don't need to, because we don't want to waste time. We're doing more of a targeted response. We want to get our cards in the hands of the patients as fast as possible, so we can get to this $1,500 a month. So what you're gonna do is you go to Google, you write down the address and telephone number of 10 of them. And then what you're going to do is just simply call them. You're going to call them and say, hey, I was interested in your clinic. I was wondering if you guys write for your doctors write prescriptions for the medication Adipex or phentermine. And then they'll let you know, maybe we don't do that. Sometimes we do. And you get that response from them. So you're just going to put, highlighted, yes, no, yes, maybe, yes, okay. And then you're going to find out all the yeses. You're going to highlight them, and you're going to go to those doctor's offices. And you go to those doctor's offices, it'll be very similar. You're going to walk in and say, hi, I called you guys earlier about the phentermine. The reason I was calling is that we actually just set up, again, say, I'm a pharmacist, or I work with a pharmacist, and that works out special deals for certain medications. So I walk in there, I say, hi, I'm a pharmacist. I called you earlier about if your doctor's right for Adipex or not. And we have a special deal at Walgreens for $11.75 for Adipex for your patients. And hopefully you do it a lot smoother than I just did. But as soon as you say that, they're gonna love it. Of course, it's a great deal for the patients, and they're gonna give it every time that doctor writes a prescription for Adipex for whatever patient. Sometimes HCG and these B12 injections are very expensive. Sometimes they can't afford it, but the patient's looking for something in the meantime. And this is an option for them. It's only $11 that they can get their medication for. So what you're going to see is you're going to see a couple little sporadic ones, from these offices right here, but they add up because you got to remember you had that first doctor's office that could be doing anywhere from like 5 to 20 all in one day, and then you're going to have that list of people, of doctor's offices that are frequently writing for it. Okay, and you're going to pick up like another 5 there. You're going to pick up like another 3 over here. Okay, so you can see that you can see where this happens, how we're already getting kind of close to that number. Okay, and of course, all of this, has a lot of variations. You never know what you're going to get, but you can see how we can slowly creep our way to this 29 prescriptions per day. And what you have to realize is that our price on this medication is so good that the word spreads really fast, especially in the community. You can see how the word spreads really fast to which doctor's office which doctor is the one writing for phentermine and Adipex. The same thing goes with the price. that will spread really fast. Once doctors' offices realize this, once patients realize this, once pharmacies realize this, you never know when your card's going to end up at a pharmacy and people are going to start using it. When word of mouth with this card travels really, really fast, this number can explode overnight. But this is basically the foundation. Now that I'm looking at the way I wrote everything here, I hope it's understandable because this looks kind of crazy. But what I want to get through to you is this. This is basically the foundation. This is what you can do with other. This is just one medication. You can use the same exact strategy with other medications as soon as you come up with them. Basically, this is your thing. This is your own business. You're going to be doing your research. And every time I find a medication that I think this works really well with, I'm going to share that with you. Hopefully you do the same with me. You can email me anytime. Hey, I'm using this strategy with this medication. I think it can work. I always love hearing that and seeing how it's going, tell you my experiences. But you could use, this is the foundation. You're going to use this same thing with other medications out there. Another one that I did this with was a testosterone injection. Now I found out that a lot of them were prior authorizations, big pain in the butt, and even when they went through insurance, they were super high copays. And I noticed that some doctors were, substituting it over to the testosterone vial, which we had a great deal on. Okay, so what I would do is I would go to doctors' offices and educate them and say, hey, I know, you guys are having a ton of problems with Androgel and test them, and you could actually, substitute it for the testosterone vial. They get 3 months supply. It's only $20 a month for them. Here's our card. Give it to any one of your patients that's having problems getting that covered. And the same exact process that I just told you. I got 10 other doctors. Then I went to Google and I looked up like hormone replacement and I wrote those down and I made the phone calls. And you just start accumulating them and you do this replicated over and over again for different medications. Another one is Viagra and Cialis. Now, everybody's paying cash for those. Our discount, we do give discounts, but there aren't any discount cards that are providing like an amazing discount on these medications, unfortunately. They're super expensive, almost like $60 a pill. But now, recently, you might see people picking up the sildenafil generic that came out in 20 milligrams. So you're probably starting to see that prescription coming out a lot, and our card has a great price on that as well. So that's another angle that you can start to use our same system that I just showed you and use that with that medication, and you start to pick up a couple here and there. So as you can see, this is the way that it's built up. This is a much better way of doing things. You probably by now are getting a good understanding of why my card started to spread so fast and why I started, getting a lot of claims going through my card, per day. So hopefully this all makes sense to you. Email me, let me know if something made sense, something didn't make sense. If you for any questions that you may have or concerns about it, just let me know, and we'll continue to communicate like this. And I'll tell you whenever I come up with a medication that I think this will work on. You let me know when you figure stuff out, and then that's how we get everybody making the most amount of money possible. So thank you so much for listening. I can't wait to get to the next video, but I just want to remind you guys that this video right here, this is the most important one out of all the ones that I'm going to do. Okay, everything else is going to be supplemental to pick up a couple here and there, but this is the main strategy. This right here is the most important thing. You have to do this, okay? You just get down a piece of paper, make these lists of these doctors, and get out there and do it. Remember what I said about residual income. Don't get tied up in that first month. Realize that you're building upon your check every single month, okay? Don't take that pause. Don't like kind of do this and kind of wait and see what happens, because sorry, I'm going off another tangent. I have to explain something to you guys really quick. It's very important because I get the data. I see what all the sales reps are doing. Okay, so there's this progress that happens with sales reps once they start getting going. They put a little bit of work in, they do this a little bit, and they kind of sit back and see how it's going, see what the return is. And what happens is you saw that one example I gave you where it was like $63. So a rep will come in, they'll start, and their first little check will be for like $63. They won't think much of it. They'll kind of like forget about it. Their cards will be out there. They're using their connections and stuff like that. and you know it'll trickle to like $93 the next month, and then like 4 or 5 months later it'll just continue to trickle up, and they'll get a check for about $150, and they'll look at that check and they'll realize, and I can tell that they have that aha moment because I can see the statistics of what happens after that, because they realize, well, what did I do for this $150? I didn't really even do that much for this $150. And then that's when the light bulb goes off, and then that's when I start seeing this number like go nuts, you know. And it's like, so in my mind I'm always thinking, you know, what happened here and what happened here, you know. And what happened here was that trap of not understanding residual income and how it builds on itself. Okay, and they wait 6 months before they start to really get it, but they wasted all, you know, they wasted all this time over here. So I want you guys to not get stuck in this cloud, this 6 to 8 month cloud of not understanding residual income and how it works. So just put your head down and do this. This isn't something that you have to spend a lot of time doing, by the way. I just want to make sure that you're consistent doing it. That you shouldn't be doing this for more than maybe 2 hours a week. You know, visiting doctor's offices, you just walk right in and you're in and out in like 15 seconds. You can get through all these doctor's offices really quick. This is something you just do on the side, just a couple hours a week, and it pays off. It pays off really well. So I wanted to explain this to you because I've seen this a million times. I've seen, it's like I can see where the light bulb, the switch goes off, and then they start to really figure it out, and then they start to really blow it up. So don't get stuck in this trap over here. Make sure you get those lists going, and you get to it as soon as you can. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. Sorry I went off track there a little bit. I tend to do that. Got a little bit of ADD, but can't wait to make the next video for you guys. Thanks a lot.